Chapter 6:12. Xuanhuan nodded. That's right, second sister-in-law. There's a lot of noodles in the fields. I saw that you brought a lot back. I don't think you can finish it. Why don't you give us some? Our father is still taking care of his body. He needs to eat something good. Li Chuanying tried to negotiate. Although eels and loaches were not good food for them, they were much better than those wild vegetables. If it was in the past, Zhao Wenhua would have given them some. But now Zhao Wenhua felt that he could not do that. If he gave old Zhao's family what they wanted, they would get used to it. They would expect to get good food from him all the time. Second sister-in-law, there's a lot in the fields. If you want to eat, you can ask second brother to go and get some. We still need to eat. Your second brother can't. He's not as good as you. He can't get anything. Second sister-in-law, if Tianan can do it, why can't second brother? If you don't want to give them to us, then don't. Why are you saying so much? Li Chuanying was a little angry. After thinking about how to split from the family, Zhao Wenhua seemed to have changed into a different person. Second sister-in-law, look at what you're saying. No matter how much I give, it's not as good as the ones you catch yourself. Li Chuanying rolled his eyes at Zhao Wenhua angrily and began to nitpick. Third brother, look at you. You've made our yard so smelly. How can you smell it? You have to pinch your nose in the yard. That's right. It's so smelly. How can you stay here? Feng Xianxia also jumped out and helped Li Chuanying to criticize him. Zhao Wenhua was a little embarrassed. He had no choice. He could wash it with water later. After half a day, the smell would naturally dissipate. He did not know how to refute these two people's words. Zhao Yun was in the kitchen. When she heard Li Chuanying and Feng Xianxia's words about Zhao Wenhua, she walked out and rebuked them. First Andy, second Andy, you said that my father made the courtyard smelly. What about you? You raised chickens and poop everywhere, but we didn't say anything. Even if you want to nitpick, you can't do this, right? What's more, we did it in front of the third branch. Even if it's dirty, it's still the third branch's land. But your chickens ran to my house and pooped everywhere. You didn't even clean it up. After Zhao Yun retorted, Li Chuanying and Feng Xianxia opened their mouths but couldn't say anything. Zhao Yun glanced at Li Chuanying and Feng Xianxia. She thought that it would be better for them to move into the new house as soon as possible. Once they moved out, these people would not be able to cause trouble. Otherwise, when they saw the third branch's delicious food and drinks, they would make a fuss from time to time. It had rained before, so the construction of the house had been delayed. Now that the rain had stopped, he could ask about the foundation in the afternoon. Just as Zhao Yun was thinking about this, a big dog suddenly came out and ran away with the biggest eel in its mouth. It was too fast, so they couldn't catch up for a while. The smell on the ground probably attracted the big dog. Zhao Yun narrowed her eyes. This dog was really big. Looking at its size, it was almost as big as her family's Xiao Mao. But since it dared to steal things in front of her, it really had guts. She remembered this dog. Mother, that's Big Gray who bullied Little Black. Daodu tugged at Zhao Yun's clothes. Zhao Yun only reacted after being reminded by Daodu. What a coincidence. She still hadn't avenged Little Black, and now this damn dog came to provoke her. Chapter 6:13. Zhao Yun's brows furrowed slightly as she tried to think of a solution. Daodu said again, Father, Mother, we have to avenge Little Black. We can't let Little Black get bullied for nothing. Daodu's little face puffed up in anger as he fought for justice for Little Black. Mu Lianfeng patted Daodu's head and said to Daodu, Don't worry, Daodu. Father has a way. We'll definitely avenge Little Black. Hearing Mu Lianfeng's words, Daodu's little face finally looked better. Seeing Mu Lianfeng's confident expression, Zhao Yun couldn't help but be curious. Did Mu Lianfeng really have a way to deal with Big Gray? Thinking about it again, this man could even kill a tiger. It was just a big dog, so it shouldn't be any weaker than him. It felt so good to have such a powerful man by her side. Zhao Wenhua sighed, this Big Gray is like that. In the village, he'll snatch whatever good food he sees. No one dares to provoke such a big dog. If they get bitten, it'll be bad. Regardless of whether it was the ancient times or modern times, being bitten by a dog could lead to rabies. Once they got rabies, they would die. Therefore, the villagers were afraid and didn't dare to provoke dogs carelessly for fear of being bitten by a dog. As for a big and fierce dog like Big Gray, they didn't dare to provoke it even more. It was precisely because of this that Big Gray was so tyrannical in the village and wasn't afraid of anything. Zhao Yun snorted softly, like owner like dog. It really takes after its owner's temperament. This Big Gray is the same as our family's young mistress. Zhao Yun was referring to Madame who was very tyrannical in the village. Yun don't be angry. This dog won't be arrogant for long. Mu Lianfeng comforted. Zhao Yun'er nodded. It's a good thing if we can get rid of it. The villagers won't have to worry about being bullied by a dog. Zhao Wenhua said. Okay, I'm going to cook. Zhao Yun'er turned and went into the kitchen. Liang Jinxiao added a torch to the stove while Zhao Yun'er began to cook snake soup on the stove. First, he poured a few spoonfuls of rapeseed oil into the wok. When the wok was hot, he added some ginger slices and the snake meat and stir-fried it a few times. After the snake meat was stir-fried until it was fragrant, he added a few spoonfuls of water and started to simmer. Liang Jinxiao watched the fire from below while Zhao Yun'er prepared other dishes. In addition to this snake soup, there were also a few stir-fried dishes. There were many dishes in her small vegetable garden that could be eaten. Zhao Yun'er cut the vegetables and put them on a plate. Zhao Wenhua had already cleaned up the rice field eels and loaches. He sent them to the kitchen and handed them to Zhao Yun'er. Yun'er, come, it's done. Zhao Wenhua said with a smile. After cleaning up the rice field eels and loaches, Zhao Wenhua's hands were stained with a fishy smell. He quickly got some locust, rubbed his hands and washed them with water. At the same time, the fragrance of snake soup drifted out of the kitchen. The people in the courtyard couldn't help but sniff the snake soup. They didn't expect the snake soup to be more fragrant than the chicken soup. They almost drooled when they smelled it. Unfortunately, they could only smell it but couldn't eat it. They could only stare at it. Liang Jinxiao sat in the kitchen and took a deep breath. Yun'er, it's really fragrant. You really know how to make delicious food. Chapter 6:14. Got it, Yun'er. Snake soup was stewing in one pot, while Zhao Yun'er began to stir-fry vegetables in the other pot. The vegetables were quickly stir-fried. Finally, it was time to cook loaches and rice-field eels. Loaches and rice-field eels were cooked separately by Zhao Yun'er. Loaches were stir-fried directly. She added some oil, salt, cooking wine, ginger, garlic, and raw soy sauce. After a while, a fragrant aroma was stir-fried. It was mainly because there was enough oil in these materials that it could be made with such a strong fragrance. Under normal circumstances, the villagers would boil it with some water. Naturally, it would not be very fragrant. After stir-frying loaches, Zhao Yun'er rinsed the pot and continued to stir-fry rice-field eels. This time, she picked some garlic moss, mixed it with the rice-field eels and stir-fried it in the pot for a while. Several dishes were out of the pot, and the snake soup was also ready. Mother, we can eat now. Zhao Yun'er said. Ah, good. Looking at today's dishes, they are even better than Chinese New Year's. Liang Jinxiao sighed. Zhao Yun'er smiled and said, as long as our family works hard together, we can celebrate Chinese New Year's and eat good food every day. Haha, Liang Jinxiao laughed happily. She was looking forward to the future. Would she be able to live such a good life like this? Mother, go and call father and the others to eat. Yes, yes. Liang Jinxiao responded. Zhao Yun'er took out a big bowl and scooped out more than half of the snake soup in the pot. There was so much that the family probably could not finish it in one meal. Zhao Yun'er wanted to give some to Mulan after eating so that she could also taste the snake soup. The people of the third branch entered the room and began to eat lunch around the table. Xuanhuan had already changed his pants and put on Zhao Tianan's clean pants. Heir presumptive, please sit. Zhao Wenhua greeted. Uncle, you are an elder. Please sit. Mu Lianfeng declined. No, you are the crown prince. Uncle, you're Yun'er's father? Seeing the two of them refusing, Zhao Yun'er couldn't help but laugh. All right, the two of you don't have to refuse. Father, young Master Shitzi is young Master Shitzi in front of others, but not in front of you. You'd better sit. After Zhao Yun'er said that, Zhao Wenhua sat down in embarrassment. The ancient people were very clear about this distinction. Zhao Yun'er felt that it was too rigid. Especially if they were a family, there was no need to be so particular. Xuanhuan was depressed at first, but when he saw so much delicious food on the table, he immediately became excited. Without waiting for Zhao Yun'er's family to serve her, she picked up her chopsticks and began to eat. The other members of the third branch didn't feel anything, but Zhao Yun'er felt very uncomfortable in her heart. This Xuanhuan was a little too much. He really thought of himself as a member of the third branch and didn't know how to be a little more reserved. This snake soup is so fragrant. Zhao Ping'er sighed. Although snakes looked scary, the meat was indeed delicious. Zhao Ping'er hurriedly scooped a bowl and drank it. Tsk. It's so delicious. Zhao Yun'er, how do you know so much? You even know that snakes can be eaten. Zhao Yun'er didn't know if Zhao Ping'er was praising her or not. Don't think that others don't know if you don't know. Zhao Yun'er replied faintly. Alright Zhao Yuner, you win this time. It's so delicious. As Zhao Ping spoke, she buried her head and ate again. She directly scooped the snake meat into her bowl. Chapter 6:15. Big Brother Yuan, come you eat too. As Zhao Ping spoke, she scooped out a lot of snake meat from the bowl and prepared to put it into Qin Yuan's bowl. Qin Yuan was so frightened that he quickly moved the bowl away and said to Zhao Ping, I'm not eating. Thinking about how this snake coiled around his leg and bit his butt, Qin Yuan's body trembled. Snakes had already left a shadow in his heart. How could he still eat it? Zhao Ping was stunned and persuaded, Big Brother Yuan, try it. It's really delicious. You'll regret it if you don't eat it. And no need. Zhao Ping quickly take it away. I'm not eating it. There are other dishes on the table that are also delicious. These are enough for me. Zhao Ping hesitated for a while and sighed. Alright then. Big Brother Yuan, forget it if you don't want to eat it. I'll eat it. As Zhao Ping spoke, she put the snake meat into her bowl. Seeing the fear in Qin Yuan's eyes, Zhao Yun snorted softly. So what if he's a coward? He doesn't even dare to eat snake meat. Who knows what to do with such a coward in the future? Big sister Ping father, mother and everyone else haven't eaten yet. You're eating so much snake meat alone. Are you still going to let others eat it? Zhao Yun said with some dissatisfaction. You're blaming me for not eating. Zhao Ping pursed her lips and said. Everyone hasn't started eating yet. Only the two of you are eating happily at the table. Zhao Yun was talking about Qin Yuan and Zhao Ping. Qin Yuan wasn't a fool. He naturally knew that Zhao Yun was talking about him. He coughed a little awkwardly and said, Big Brother Yuan, don't listen to her. You eat. It's fine. Yun'er, let him eat. He must be hungry. Liang Jinxiao saw that Qin Yuan was embarrassed and tried to persuade him. Zhao Yun'er, did you hear that? You only know how to be calculative. The corners of Zhao Yun'er's mouth twitched. This Zhao Pinger hadn't married into the Qin family yet, but she was already protecting the Qin Yuan. After the family had lunch together, there was still half of the snake soup left in the pot. Zhao Wenhua brought a bowl to Zhao Baoshan's room. After all, his father was still recuperating in bed. It wouldn't make sense if he didn't give her some nourishing food. After staying in Qin Yuan for a while, he got up and said goodbye. Before leaving, Qin Yuan hesitated for a moment and said to Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao, Uncle, Auntie, I actually came here for something. You child, if you have something to say, just say it. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. Qin Yuan hesitated for a moment and said, Uncle, Auntie, I actually came here to borrow some money. My brother's illness acted up again and he needs to take medicine. But my family doesn't have money. Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao had heard from matchmaker Gao that their family Qin had a son. However, he was a fool and had a problem with his intelligence. They didn't expect that this fool's illness would act up again and he needed to take medicine. Father, mother, Big Brother Yuan will be my husband in the future. We will be a family. Please lend him some money. Zhao Pinger pleaded. Originally, Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao were already embarrassed to refuse. Now that Zhao Pinger said this, they were even more embarrassed. Qin Yuan, how much do you want to borrow this time? Uncle, Auntie, my parents want me to borrow 2 taels of silver this time. My brother's medical expenses are so high. When they heard Qin Yuan say 2 taels of silver, Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao were still in a dilemma. After all, 2 taels of silver was not a small amount. If it was a few hundred copper coins, then forget it. Chapter 6:16. Liang Jinxiao did a quick calculation. Zhao Yuner only gave her a little more than 1 tael of silver in total. Qin Yuan asked for 2 taels of silver right away. She really couldn't afford it. The Qin family, on the other hand, thought that 2 taels of silver was very easy for Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao. Zhao Yuner made a lot of money, so her parents should have at least 2 taels of silver. Seeing that Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao suddenly stopped talking, Qin Yuan thought that they were unwilling to lend the money. Uncle, Aunt, we don't have any other choice. If we could find someone else to lend the money, we wouldn't come here and ask for it. Qin Yuan seemed a little helpless. Zhao Pinger suddenly became anxious. She was afraid that if her parents didn't lend the money, Qin Yuan would be unhappy, and Qin Yuan wouldn't marry her in the end. Father, mother, it's just 2 taels of silver. You can lend it to Brother Yuan. Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao both said to Zhao Pinger a little awkwardly. Pinger, it's not that we don't want to lend it to you, but we don't have 2 taels of silver. We only have a little more than 1 tael of silver in total. How can we lend it to you? Father, mother, you don't have the money, but Sister Yuner has it. Why don't you just ask Sister Yuner for it? Zhao Ping'er's eyes moved and she said to Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao. Zhao Yuner happened to hear their conversation when she just entered the house. She left for a while just now to send the snake soup to Mulan. As soon as she came back, she saw several people talking about money. What do you want from me? Zhao Yuner raised her eyebrows and asked. Her premonition told her that it was nothing good. Liang Jinxiao then explained the matter to Zhao Yuner. Zhao Yuner's eyes couldn't help but fall on Xuanhuan's body. She looked at Xuanhuan's eyes and sized him up. Interesting. He actually came to borrow money and it was 2 taels of silver. He really dared to ask for an exorbitant price. Zhao Yuner didn't know what the family Qin wanted to do by borrowing money. Was it really for an emergency or was it just to take advantage of her family? Zhao Yuner still felt that it shouldn't be done if it was an emergency. They weren't in-laws but they were already like this. If they became in-laws in the future, wouldn't they eat up their family until there was nothing left? Being stared at by Zhao Yuner, Xuanhuan felt a little guilty and didn't dare to look at Zhao Yuner. He seemed to know that this request of his was too much. Zhao Ping'er asked loudly, Zhao Yuner, why aren't you saying anything? Are you going to lend money to Brother Yuan or not? You've earned a lot during this period. You can't be stingy with such a small amount of money. After all, he's your future brother-in-law. Zhao Yuner sneered. This Zhao Ping'er was really a professional helping outsiders to take advantage of her family. Sister Ping'er, it's easy for you to say. What do you mean by such a small amount of money? 2 taels of silver isn't a small amount. You can ask others if they can take it out immediately. Others can't, but you can. You have money in your hands. Do you still care about 2 taels of silver? I think you're just stingy and don't want to lend it. Zhao Ping'er criticized angrily. Sister Ping'er, after all, I worked hard to earn the money. 2 taels of silver is enough for me to wake up early and sleep late for a while. Why do you make it sound like it's picked up? Zhao Yuner's voice became colder. Chapter 6:17. Moreover, after they borrowed the money, not only would they not feel grateful but they would also continue to borrow from them. If this happened once, there would be a second time. It was just that Zhao Ping'er was too stupid to see this. Xuanhuan's face flushed. If that's the case, I won't force you if you don't want to lend it to me. One could hear that there was a trace of anger in Xuanhuan's tone. Zhao Ping'er was even more anxious. Zhao Yun, are you going to lend it to me or not? Dad, Mom, please say something. Zhao Ping'er looked at Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao for help. Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao sighed. They felt that if they didn't lend the money to them, their family Qin would feel bad about it. Thus they began to persuade them. Yun, why don't we borrow some money? This is also an emergency. Zhao Yuner felt that her parents were being too kind again. I can lend it to you, but since it's a loan, there should at least be a guarantee, right? I'll borrow 2 taels of silver, but I have to sign an IOU and put my fingerprint on it. In fact, I don't mean anything else. I just want to make myself feel better. If you can accept this, you can take out the money now. Zhao Yuner smiled and said to Xuanhuan. Xuanhuan's face was a little pale. Do you mean that our family won't pay you back in the future? Don't worry, our family won't go back on our word. Why do you have to sign an IOU? Xuanhuan wasn't very willing to sign an IOU. Zhao Yun, what do you mean? Brother Yuan also has to sign an IOU just to borrow money? Zhao Yuner smiled. I don't mean anything else. I just want to feel better. Otherwise, what if there's always a what if? Since we'll pay the money back, signing an IOU won't be a problem, right? Well? Xuanhuan felt a little guilty. To be honest, he didn't know if his family would return the 2 taels of silver, and he wasn't even sure if they could afford it. After all, his family Qin was too poor. He might not be able to save up 2 taels of silver even if he saved up for several years. This time, rather than saying that he was here to borrow, it was more like he wanted to borrow and not return it. After what Zhao Yuner did to him, he probably wouldn't be able to avoid it in the future. What should he do now? What's wrong? Is my request too much? Well, let's write an IOU as you said. I'll get the money first. I'll think of a way to return the money later. Alright then. Zhao Yuner took a piece of paper and wrote a line of words. She took it over and let Xuanhuan stamp his fingerprint. Then she handed the 2 taels of silver to Xuanhuan. Xuanhuan took the money and some things that Zhao Wenhua had given him. Looking at Xuanhuan's back, Zhao Yuner was thinking whether it was appropriate for Zhao Ping'er to marry Xuanhuan. The more she looked at this family Qin, the more unreliable it seemed. She didn't want to continue to be involved with this family Qin in the future. In the afternoon, Mu Lianfeng continued to work in the field to pump water, while Zhao Yuner and Zhao Wenhua went to work on the foundation of the house. Zhao Wenhua led Zhao Yuner to Old Chen's house. Old Chen's new house was built 5 or 6 years ago for his son to get married. The old house was too shabby for people to live in. If Old Chen hadn't built a new house at that time, his son probably wouldn't have been able to get married. In ancient times, it was also difficult for poor families to get married. Chapter 6:18. At Old Chen's house, Old Man Chen and Old Lady Chen were both at home. Seeing Zhao Wenhua come over, Old Man Chen greeted Zhao Wenhua politely. "Ah, isn't this Wenhua? How come you have time to visit Uncle Chen today?" Zhao Wenhua smiled. "Uncle Chen, I'm here to discuss something with you today." "Ah, then come in and take a seat. Don't just stand outside." Zhao Yunlong chuckled and nodded, replying. Old Man Chen noticed Zhao Yun behind Zhao Wenhua. He pointed at Zhao Yun and asked, "Wenhua, is this your second daughter?" "Yes." "Ha, she's becoming more and more beautiful as she grows up. It's such a blessing to have such a big daughter." Old Man Chen sighed. There was a hint of envy in his tone. The reason why Old Man Chen was like this was because he only had one son in the family. He didn't have a daughter. Although the people of ancient times favored boys over girls, they also hoped to have both a son and a daughter. If other people had a daughter but his family didn't, he would feel sad. "Ah, that's right." Zhao Wenhua smiled with relief. His second daughter was considerate and capable. "Come in together, girl." Old Man Chen also greeted Zhao Yun. Looking at the kind smile on Old Man Chen's face, Zhao Yun had a good impression of this amiable little old man. Many people in the village were rather mean. People like Old Man Chen, who was kind and enthusiastic, were relatively rare. Zhao Wenhua and Zhao Yun entered Old Man Chen's house. Old Lady Chen also enthusiastically brought over 2 cups of hot water. "Come drink some. It can warm your body." Old Lady Chen squinted her eyes and said with a smile, "Thank you, Auntie." "Thank you, Grandma Chen." You're welcome, you're welcome." Zhao Yun saw that Old Man Chen and Old Lady Chen were very nice. She thought that if the two of them could be like this, it would probably be easier to settle the matter of the land later. Initially he still had some worries in his heart, but now he was mostly relieved. Father Chen smiled and asked Zhao Wenhua, "Wenhua, what do you want to discuss today?" "Uncle Chen, then I'll be frank with you. My family is planning to build a big house, so we need a bigger piece of land. However, the land bought in the village is not big enough. At most, we can build an ordinary house. I don't think we can build a big house. I looked around and there is a piece of land right next to your old house. If you buy your old house and tear it down later, you will be able to make a larger piece of land." Zhao Yunlong explained to Father Chen. Old Man Chen couldn't help but nod. "Since your family is planning to build a big house, that's a good thing. Indeed, we don't want the land for our old house anymore. We can definitely give it to you." Zhao Wenhua was elated to see Old Man Chen agree so readily. After all, once the land was acquired, the new house could be built. "Uncle Chen, how much do you want for this piece of land?" "That's easy to discuss. Wenhua, you can pay according to the village's normal price." "Ah, that's good. Uncle Chen, the village's normal price is 2 taels of silver. I'll give you an additional 200 copper coins. After all, you're doing us a big favor by being willing to pay." Old Man Chen chuckled. "Wenhua, you're too polite." "Then it's settled. Uncle Chen, I'll send you the money later." Chapter 6:19. "Haha, I'm in a hurry to buy it. I'm afraid that if I don't hurry up, I won't be able to buy it later." Zhao Wenhua joked. Old Man Chen laughed when he heard that. "It's just a piece of land. It's not a big deal." Zhao Yun was also happy in her heart. This Old Man Chen is too easy to talk to. She didn't know if it was because there were so many weirdos in the village, but Zhao Yun always felt that there weren't too many good people. Suddenly meeting people like Old Man Chen and Old Woman Chen, she actually found it hard to adapt for a moment. It seems that she also has the physique of a masochist. The conversation between Zhao Wenhua and Old Man Chen was heard by a woman outside the door. This woman was Old Man Chen's wife, Zhang Chuer. Zhang Chuer jumped into Old Man Chen's house and said, "No, this land can't be sold." The few people who were sitting in the house and discussing this matter couldn't help but be stunned. They didn't expect that someone would suddenly come out and cause trouble. "Chuer, why can't you sell it? Didn't you say that you will sell it to Wenhua?" Old Man Chen said to Zhang Chuer in a good mood. Zhao Yun noticed that in front of Zhang Chuer, Old Man Chen's attitude was much more humble. In this kind of normal family, the parents-in-law basically made the decisions. After all, the elders were the most important. However, in Old Man Chen's house, it wasn't like this. The reason why this situation happened was because Chen Wangfu was a cripple. Chen Wangfu felt that it was already not easy for him to marry a daughter-in-law. If they didn't give in to Zhang Chuer and this daughter-in-law ran away, what would happen to Qin Wangfu? It was precisely because old man Qin and old woman Qin were used to giving in, and Qin Wangfu was similar to his parents, that Zhang Chuer raised her to be the most important person in old man Qin's house. Big sister, can you tell us why this land can't be sold? Towards Zhang Chuer's attitude, Zhao Wenhua didn't argue with Zhang Chuer at first, but instead asked nicely. Zhao Chuer snorted lightly and said, "That's because the price you offered is too low." "Then big sister, how much do you want? We can negotiate the price, can't we?" Zhao Wenhua still spoke in a negotiating tone. Zhao Yun squinted her eyes and sized Zhang Chuer. They were about to reach an agreement when someone suddenly jumped out to oppose it. It would be a lie to say that they weren't angry. However, Zhao Yun was calm. She wanted to know what kind of trick Zhang Chuer wanted to play. She then said, "The price that my father offered is too low to buy the land to buy to sell to Zhao." And Zhao Wenhua old Zhao. And Wenhua. She to make sure that Zhao'd have money to buy to make to buy toot. Teat make use of teat. Hearing the price of 15 taels of silver, the few people in the room gasped. 15 taels of silver was enough to buy 7 or 8 pieces of land, let alone a piece of land. No one could accept the sudden increase in price. Zhao Wenhua knew that the money in Zhao Yun'er's hands didn't grow on trees. She shouldn't spend her money like this. Big sister, are you kidding? Yeah, Chuer 15 taels is too expensive. We're all from the same hometown. There's no need to be so. Old man Qin couldn't help but say. As long as she was tricked once and the news spread, the people in the village would follow her example and take advantage of her family. She wasn't stupid enough to do something like that. Okay, let's think of something. Zhao Wenhua nodded. Although they delayed the construction of the house, he couldn't wait to build the house. On the way back, Zhao Yun passed by Ma Xiaofeng's house. She saw Zhao Tianan busying himself in Ma Xiaofeng's garden. He was very attentive. "If you are done with your work, come back early." "Got it, second sister." Looking at Zhao Yun'er's back, Ma Xiaofeng's eyes revealed a trace of hatred. "Xiaofeng, don't take my second sister's words to heart." Zhao Tianan saw that Ma Xiaofeng was unhappy and comforted her. "Tianan, does your second sister not like me?" Ma Xiaofeng looked at Zhao Tianan pitifully. Chapter 622. Tianan, what if your second elder sister disapproves of us being together in the future? No, Xiaofeng, you're so nice. My second elder sister won't disagree. I mean if. Xiaofeng, no matter who disagrees, as long as I want to be with you, no matter what others say, it's useless. After saying that, Zhao Tianan lowered his head. He didn't dare to look into Ma Xiaofeng's eyes. Tianan, you're so nice. When Zhao Yun'er got home, she cleaned up the house. Because it had been raining for a while, there was a moldy smell on the clothes and quilts in the house. Unfortunately, the sun wasn't out yet. Otherwise, the moldy things in the house would have to be taken out to dry. When the weather cleared up, she still had to go to the town to set up a stall to sell breakfast. After resting for such a long time, she didn't know whether the business would be affected if she went to set up a stall again. When it was close to evening, Mu Lianfeng came back from the paddy field with dirty clothes. Seeing Mu Lianfeng's clothes, body, and head were all stained with mud, Zhao Yun hurriedly told Mu Lianfeng to take a shower and change his clothes. "I'll boil some hot water," Zhao Yun said. It was still cold. She didn't know whether Mu Lianfeng would catch a cold. Mu Lianfeng smiled. Sure. Zhao Yun went into the kitchen and soon came out with a pot of hot water. Mu Lianfeng had to exercise when he was pumping water, so he didn't feel cold. Once he stopped, his body shivered badly. "Is it cold?" Zhao Yun asked with concern. "It's fine. Don't try to be brave. You're shivering like this. How can you say it's fine?" "Yun, I have to save my face in front of you. If I get too cold, I'll be too useless." "It's nothing. Whose body is made of iron? Isn't he afraid of the cold?" Zhao Yun said and asked Mu Lianfeng to take a shower. After soaking his body, he would be warm. It was inconvenient that they didn't build a big house. When they were taking a shower, the other person had to go out. They planned to have dinner in the third room. After all, there were a lot of leftovers from lunch. "Yun, I'm done. Come in." After Mu Lianfeng took a shower, he opened the door. There was a faint smell of soap inside. Zhao Yun took the wooden basin and tidied up Mu Lianfeng's clothes. She was about to wash them when Mu Lianfeng stopped her. "Yun, I'll do it. You don't need to do these chores." Zhao Yun smiled. "This is the first time I've seen a man who is so diligent in doing housework. I'll do it." You're tired today. It's all right, Yun, or you're still injured. Zhao Yun'er was a little helpless. It's just the wound on my forehead. It's not a problem. It's almost healed. That's still an injury. Speaking of the wound on Zhao Yun'er's forehead, Mu Lianfeng said, Yun'er, you should change the dressing. Let me change the dressing for you. Chapter 623. Zhao Yun'er's heart skipped a beat when she heard that it would leave a scar. All girls cared about their appearance and Zhao Yun'er was the same. No way, she didn't think it was serious but she didn't expect it to leave a scar. Alas. Mu Lianfeng sighed again. He had studied it for the past few days, and the probability of it leaving a scar was very high. Yun'er, don't worry. There is a very famous doctor in Yang City. He will definitely be able to cure the scar on your forehead. Go to Yang City later and ask for the medicine to remove the scar. Zhao Yun'er nodded and replied, that's good. If it really left a scar, there was nothing she could do. After changing the medicine, Zhao Yun'er and Mu Lianfeng went to the third branch. There was still some food left for lunch, so they poured it into the pot and heated it up. They also added some vegetables and loaches. The whole family had a good meal together. Just after lunch there was another noise in the yard. Zhao Wenshui was crying miserably. They didn't know what had happened. Zhao Yun'er went out of the third branch's room with the intention of watching the drama. The other members of old Zhao's family also came out to watch. Zhao Wenshui supported Zhao Wenshui. Zhao Wenshui's ankle was bitten by something and it was bleeding. It seemed to be quite serious. Ouch, ouch. Zhao Wenshui screamed. He was in so much pain that he almost cried. Li Chuiying immediately ran over and asked, Tianyu's father, what happened to you? AI, second sister-in-law, second brother was bitten by a snake. I thought this snake wasn't powerful. I didn't expect it to make people bleed. As Zhao Wenshui spoke, he took out a snake from the basket and threw it on the ground. Old Zhao's people were originally afraid and almost screamed. Then they found that the snake on the ground was dead and did not move. In addition, Zhao Yun'er brought back a snake today. Not only was it fine but it was also edible. The fragrance of the snake soup made them greedy so much that they were no longer afraid. Li Chuiying shouted, Tianyu's father, how could you be so careless and get bitten by a snake? You should run away when you see a snake. I didn't run away. I chased it when I saw it. Why did you chase the snake? If you don't provoke it, it won't bite you, right? Li Chuiying sighed. Zhao Wenshui curled his lips. The snake that Yun'er caught this afternoon is edible. This snake looks similar, so I wanted to catch it and let everyone have a taste of snake soup tonight. Zhao Wenshui said. He forgot his pain and swallowed his saliva. When he thought of the smell of snake soup in the kitchen of the third branch, his stomach began to rumble. Li Chuiying looked at the snake on the ground. It did look similar. When xuanhuan heard this, she immediately praised Zhao Wenshui. Second brother is so considerate and capable. We can also have a good meal of snake soup tonight. Mother, that's right. Chapter 624. What should we do? Look, your second brother's leg is injured and he can't move. If you don't go, there will be no one at home. Xuanhuan nagged. Zhao Wenshui puffed up his cheeks and looked reluctant. If he had known, he would have let the snake bite him a few times. That way he could lie in bed and rest for a few days. Ah, Tianyu's father, why is your leg so swollen? Li Chuiying pointed at Zhao Wenshui's leg. Yeah, it wasn't this big just now. And it's getting more and more painful. Zhao Wenshui curled his lips and looked worried. Is he poisoned? Li Chuiying guessed. Poisoned? As soon as he heard this word, Zhao Wenshui immediately panicked. If he was poisoned, would he still be alive? Otherwise, why is it so swollen? Why, Zhao Wenshui was frightened. What should I do? Hurry up and call Dr. Sun over for me. I don't want to die. Zhao Wenshui's cries were so miserable that the rest of old Zhao's family started to worry. Didn't you say that it's not poisonous? Second brother, so this snake can't be eaten? Zhao Xinhui pointed at the snake on the ground and looked very disappointed. The snake that Zhao Yun'er caught today was not poisonous, so it could be eaten. How could a poisonous snake be eaten? Although he wanted to eat it, he didn't want to lose his life. I guess it can't be eaten. Xuanhuan sighed. Zhao Wenshui continued to cry. Mother, can you not say that it can't be eaten? What should I do with my leg? Am I going to die soon? Mother, if I die, you'll be sending your child away, sob sob sob. Only then did Xuanhuan realize that Zhao Wenshui might have been poisoned. She ordered Zhao Wenshui, Boss, hurry up and call Dr. Sun over. Mother, I don't want to die. I'm so young. What if I die? Zhao Wenshui cried like a child. Xuanhuan looked at her son and could only sigh. Didn't I call the doctor for you? Why are you still crying? Mother, I'm scared. Woo-woo. Li Chuang also began to cry. Tianyu's father, you have to hold on. Tianyu is still young. He can't do without you. Dad, nothing can happen to you. Zhao Jing'er looked at her cheap dad and wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes with a handkerchief. Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao frowned. They were worried about Zhao Wenshui. For a moment, there was a burst of crying in the courtyard of old Zhao's house. Zhao Yun was really upset when she heard it. She had a better understanding of these weirdos in old Zhao's family. Don't cry. It's not a big deal. It's just a water snake. Is there a need to call a doctor? Everyone is making a fuss. Zhao Yun said to the people in the courtyard. Zhao Wenshui immediately stopped crying when he heard it. He looked at Zhao Yun and asked, Yun, you said it's okay. Is it really okay? This snake is not poisonous? It's poisonous, but it's not very toxic. There's no need to treat it. It will be fine in 2 days. Zhao Wenshui believed Zhao Yun's words. Chapter 625. He was lucky this time because it was a water snake. If it was a venomous snake, he would have been dead by now. Can this snake still be eaten? Zhao Wenshui pointed at the snake on the ground. Of course you can't eat a venomous snake. What Xuanhuan said. Alas. Zhao Wenshui felt it was a pity. He finally killed one, but it was all in vain. Zhao Wenshui was even bitten by the snake. Why do you keep it in the yard if it's not edible? Throw it away. Zhao Xinhui urged. Looking at the dead snake lying on the ground, his heart was numb. Give it to me. Zhao Yun said. These people really didn't know anything. In fact, not only black snakes could be eaten, but many other snakes could be eaten as long as they were well prepared. Water snakes and black snakes tasted the same. They tasted very good. Yun, what are you doing? Is it edible? Thinking of this, Zhao Wenshui asked in a hurry. If it was edible, he definitely wouldn't give it to Zhao Yun. He had to keep it for himself. Zhao Yun smiled and said, Uncle, if you're not afraid of being poisoned, you can try cooking it. Zhao Wenshui looked at Zhao Wenshui's swollen feet and didn't dare to try. Well, forget it. Yun, you can have it. Zhao Yun smiled. Since Uncle said so, then don't regret giving it to me. Saying that, Zhao Yun calmly picked up the water snake on the ground. It was another delicious meal. Zhao Yun felt she had earned a lot. However, Zhao Yun was afraid that old Zhao's family would find out that she had made snake soup and come back with an excuse to ask for it. She directly took it to her house and cooked it instead of the third branch's house. In the next 2 days, the weather gradually cleared up. Seeing the sun coming out, Zhao Yun quickly took out the quilts in the house and dried them to get rid of the moldy smell. It seemed that it was time to open a breakfast stall in Yang City. The sooner she opened, the sooner she could make money. Her goal was very clear now. She wanted to save more money so that she could open a big restaurant in the future. That way she could make more money. Zhao Yun didn't know when she had become so unscrupulous. Thinking about it again, it was always good to have a goal, even if it was related to money. At least it could motivate her to work hard. Mom, Big Gray is here. As soon as Daodu saw Big Gray, he was so scared that he quickly ran over. When he reached Zhao Yun, he was already traumatized by Big Gray. Daodu held Little Black in his arms, afraid that Big Gray would bully Little Black again. After all, Little Black's injuries had not healed easily. If it was bitten by Big Gray again, he didn't know if Little Black would be able to survive this time. Zhao Yun shielded Daodu behind her and comforted him. Daodu, don't be afraid. Mom is here. The reason this beast was still here was because Mu Lianfeng had gone to the mountains again after the rain stopped and was busy with mining. As for this big dog, he didn't have time to deal with it. He didn't expect that after letting it jump around for a few more days, it would start to cause trouble again. Big Gray stared at Little Black in Daodu's arms and barked a few times. It bared its fangs and looked very fierce. Looking at Big Gray's posture, it seemed that it could bite at any time. Zhao Yun couldn't help but frown. This damn dog. Zhao Yun directly went to Mu Lianfeng's tent. Mu Lianfeng was discussing something with Mo Yen. Mo Yen stood up when she saw Zhao Yun come over. She said to Mu Lianfeng, Master, I'll be leaving first. Mu Lianfeng nodded. Chapter 627. Mo Yen did not dare to do that. Instead, she looked at Mu Lianfeng first, asking for Mu Lianfeng's opinion. Only when Mu Lianfeng nodded in agreement could he sit down and eat. This time, Mu Lianfeng did not argue with Mo Yen. After all, Mo Yen had been quite busy with the matters of the mine recently. Since your madam has allowed you to eat, just eat. All right. Thank you, master. Thank you, madam. Mo Yen nodded happily. Smelling the fragrance of the dishes, he felt that it was alluring. He had also tasted Zhao Yun'er's cooking. Come, let's eat. Zhao Yun'er took out the food from the container and placed it on the table. Mo Yin sniffed heavily. However, as Mu Lianfeng had not touched his chopsticks yet, she did not dare to eat. She could only wait for Mu Lianfeng to eat. Mu Lianfeng looked at the food on the table. There was a bowl of marinated tiger meat, a bowl of loach, a bowl of spicy tofu, a plate of scrambled eggs with leeks, and a bowl of natural vegetable soup. There was quite a lot of food, enough for him and Mo Yin to eat. The two of them ate heartily, almost licking up all the soup on the plate. It was as if they had been starving for days. After eating, Zhao Yun'er cleared away the plate and prepared to return. On the way back, she saw a rather large flat ground at the foot of the mountain. If she developed it, it would be enough for her to build a large house. There was also a small ditch with very clear water. It was perfect for scenery. As soon as Zhao Yun'er saw this piece of land, she thought of what it would be like to build a house. Actually, she did not have to choose a piece of land in the village. This piece of land was not bad either. It would save her the trouble of wrangling with Zhang Cui and angering herself. If she could interact with those weirdos, she would try her best not to interact with them. When she returned, she would tell Xuanhuan that she felt this place was not bad. Moreover, this place was close to the foot of the mountain, so it would be convenient for Mu Lianfeng to manage the mine when the time came. Mining was not something that could be done in a day or two. Zhao Yun'er estimated that it would take a while. He had only taken a few steps when he heard movement in the bushes. It sounded like a woman moaning. Zhao Yun'er frowned. Not long ago, she had seen Zhao Wenshui and Chen Xuanxiu having sex in the wild. Could it be that she could see it again with her own eyes? Zhao Yun'er whispered and walked towards the direction of the movement, and saw a man and a woman having sex together. The woman kept moaning in pleasure, but she was probably afraid that someone would hear her, so she deliberately lowered her voice. The more the man did it, the more excited he became. He couldn't wait to get the woman into his body. You're much stronger than that damn cripple of mine, the woman said. Of course. This feels good. Let's continue. We don't have many chances. Isn't that so? Then we have to cherish it. Seeing that you're working so hard, I'll send you delicious food tomorrow to nourish your body. I still have a lot of eggs at home. I was going to save them up to sell them. Hee, that's good. The food on the mountain is still a little less oily. It's not as good as the food you make. That's right. You're working so hard. I can't treat you unfairly. After the woman finished speaking, the man's movements became more vigorous. Zhao Yun'er was stunned. Isn't this woman Zhang Cui? Chapter 628. Zhao Yun'er finally understood what it meant to be *TC. Although she shouldn't meddle in other people's business, Zhao Yun'er still felt uncomfortable when she thought about how Papa Chen's family was being bullied by *TCH. No matter what, she had to teach her a lesson. Zhao Yun'er took note of this man's appearance. He didn't seem to be from the village, but from the group of people that Mu Lianfeng had brought over. That made things easier. Zhao Yun'er turned around and quietly went back. Seeing that Zhao Yun'er had returned, Daodu went forward and said to Zhao Yun'er, "Mother, Daodu saw a beautiful uncle just now." Beautiful uncle? Zhao Yun'er looked puzzled. She didn't know what Daodu was talking about. Yes. Daodu nodded heavily and explained. It turned out that a man in black had appeared in front of Zhao Yun'er's house. He looked unusually handsome. Daodu didn't know if he was a good person or a bad person, so he only saw the man through the crack in the door and didn't go out. The man stayed for a while and then left. After hearing Daodu's story, Zhao Yun'er guessed that this person had helped her chase Big Gray away. In addition to Daodu's description, this person couldn't be Yi Li, right? Could this man be so capable that he could find her here? But why did he come to her? Did he see that she hadn't been to town for a long time? Zhao Yun'er shook her head. It was better not to think about these things. When she went to set up her stall, she could just ask Yi Li. Daodu tugged on her sleeve. Mother, that beautiful uncle is so powerful. He can even fly in the sky. Daodu wants to be able to fly in the sky like him. Zhao Yun'er patted Daodu's little head. Daodu, flying in the sky is dangerous. What if you fall? Don't you agree? Daodu nodded. Then forget it. Daodu won't fly anymore. Good girl? For the next 2 days, Zhao Yun'er was busy with the land. Zhao Wenhua felt that Zhao Yun'er was right. That piece of mountainous land could be repaired. If they bought it from the village, it would only cost 1 tael of silver. In addition to the cost of hiring manpower to repair the land, it was much cheaper than buying the Qin family's land. Thus, the whole family began to work on building the house. Building a house was not a simple matter, especially for Zhao Yun'er's house. She had to find a professional bricklayer, but in the whole village there were only 1 or 2 bricklayers. Bricklayers were very popular. Basically, in the nearby towns and villages, as long as there were people building houses, they would be able to get some jobs. Zhao Yun'er's house was so big that they needed at least 7 to 8 bricklayers. 2 bricklayers in the village had already arrived, and the rest had to be found in the nearby villages. Yun'er's father, Yun'er's eldest and second uncles are bricklayers. Why don't we ask them to come over and help us? After all, bricklayers are not easy to find, Liang Jinxiao said. Speaking of Zhao Yun'er's eldest and second uncles, in fact, the 2 families did not have much contact. The Liang family disliked Liang Jinxiao because old Zhao's family did not like old Zhao's family. In fact, they looked down on old Zhao's family. In addition, the Liang family was wealthier than old Zhao's family. Although they were not a rich family, they were still considered wealthy in the village. Previously, old Zhao's family was having a hard time, so xuanhuan asked Liang Jinxiao to borrow food from the Liang family. After borrowing twice, the Liang family inevitably had more opinions about old Zhao's family. They even had prejudice against Liang Jinxiao's younger sister. Chapter 629. Zhao Wenhua frowned and seemed a little worried. Yun'er's mother, will Yun'er's eldest uncle and second uncle come to help us? Why not? They've already accepted the job, so they should accept the job for our family too, right? When the time comes, we'll just have to pay them the salary they deserve. Don't you think so? Zhao Wenhua thought for a moment. That's fine too. We'll discuss it with Yun'er's eldest uncle and second uncle later. It'll be best if they can come. If they don't want it, then forget it. Yes. But I haven't been to Yun'er's eldest uncle and second uncle's house in a long time. We have to bring some things over. Otherwise it won't be nice. In the past, they didn't have the financial ability to do so. Now that their conditions were slightly better, the Liang family would definitely have objections if they didn't bring anything. In the past few years, Zhao Wenhua had been thinking of repairing the relationship with Liang Jinxiao's family. Unfortunately, he didn't have the chance. Yes. Okay. When are you going over? I'll prepare some things. Okay. Zhao Wenhua nodded. Even if Zhao Yun'er's eldest uncle and second uncle were willing to come over, there weren't enough bricklayers at home. Therefore, they had to find other bricklayers. He had to ask around in the nearby villages. Zhao Yun'er was at home preparing breakfast for tomorrow. The weather had finally cleared up. After she was almost done with the chores at home, it was time to start earning money. Zhao Wenhua could handle the construction of the house, so she didn't have to be too busy. Mu Lianfeng finally had some free time after being busy on the mountain for a few days. For the past 2 days, Mu Lianfeng asked Zhao Yun'er to give the leftovers to Big Gray every time. After eating for 2 days, Big Gray started to wag its head and wag its tail at her family. Zhao Yun'er was puzzled. Could this be the way to deal with Big Gray that Mu Lianfeng mentioned? Giving this beast delicious food was equivalent to raising it. Dogs understood humans. In order to eat their food every day, they naturally wouldn't bully them. Now Big Gray didn't even go home. He stayed in front of Zhao Yun'er's house all day long. After all, compared to its master, the food that Zhao Yun'er gave it was definitely much better. Mu Lianfeng, are we going to raise this dog? Zhao Yun'er asked with a frown. To be honest, she hated Big Gray very much. Just looking at this dog made her feel disgusted. It was said that dogs were loyal, but Big Gray was an exception. He belonged to the category of people who would seek refuge from whoever fed him. Mu Lianfeng smiled and said, Yun'er, don't worry. Of course I won't keep it. Looking at Mu Lianfeng's mysterious appearance, Zhao Yun'er was even more curious about Mu Lianfeng's plan. Okay. Zhao Yun'er nodded. She believed that Mu Lianfeng should have his own way. How can you treat an old man like this? Aren't you a little too immoral? Zhao Yun'er scolded a little angrily. Zhang Cui replied very arrogantly, it's none of your business. I'll do whatever I want. You're crazy. Zhao Yun'er got angrier and angrier. Hurry up and get lost. Don't be an eyesore in front of my house. I won't get lost. If you don't buy the land today, I won't leave. As she spoke, Zhang Cui put her hands on her waist and looked like she was going to fight to the end. Chapter 631. Since she couldn't chase her away, she decided to let the dog bite her. Thus she called out to Big Gray, Big Gray, go. Hearing Zhao Yun'er's command, Big Gray ran out without hesitation and started to bite Zhang Cui. Big Gray knew that as long as he got on Zhao Yun'er's good side, he would be able to eat a lot later. Ah. Zhang Cui was so scared that she quickly ran away, but she was still caught by Big Gray. Luckily Zhang Cui was wearing thick cotton clothes and trousers, so she was wrapped up like a dumpling. Otherwise she would have been bitten into pieces by Big Gray. Zhao Yun, hurry up and tell the dog to get away from me, or else you'll have to pay for my medical expenses. Zhang Cui screamed at Zhao Yun. Zhao Yun smirked and chuckled, I'm sorry, Auntie. This big dog doesn't belong to me. If you want someone to pay for your medical expenses, you should look for my young mistress. What does it have to do with me? As Zhao Yun said that, Zhang Cui screamed again. A large piece of cloth on her butt was bitten off, revealing her smooth butt. Woof woof woof, Big Gray still didn't let go and bit Zhang Cui's smooth butt. This time he bit directly, leaving a row of teeth marks on Zhang Cui's butt, and it even started to bleed. Luckily Zhang Cui ran fast, or else the flesh on her butt would have fallen off. Big Gray chased after her relentlessly. Zhang Cui was scared out of her wits, but her butt was hurting badly. Seeing Big Gray pouncing over Zhang Cui, had no strength left. She glanced at the tree in front of Zhao Yun's house, and used the last of her strength to slip up the tree. No matter how strong Big Gray was, he didn't know how to climb trees. He could only guard under the tree and bark non-stop. Zhang Cui patted her chest in shock and shouted at Zhao Yun who was under the tree, Zhao Yun, hurry up and tell this damn dog to get out of my way. Zhao Yun smirked and couldn't help but smile. She didn't expect Big Gray to have such a function. It seemed like the food she fed him for the past 2 days wasn't for nothing. Now he could help her deal with weirdos. Annie, you're wrong. The dog doesn't belong to me. How can it do whatever I tell it to do? You have to look for my young mistress. The dog listens to her. Zhang Cui was now on the tree and could not come down. How could she go and find Madame Hu? I don't care. Zhao Yun, I'm telling you I'm not done with you today. Zhao Yun's mouth evoked a sarcastic smile. It's not my dog. Why is it not over with me? If it bites you, you should settle the score with its owner. If not, you should bite it too. What's the point of dragging me into this? You. Zhang Cui glared at Zhao Yun angrily. What should he do now? Big Gray wouldn't let her go. She couldn't come down from the tree and she couldn't find trouble with Zhao Yun. She knew in her heart that it wasn't Zhao Yun's dog. Even if she wanted Zhao Yun to compensate, she couldn't. If she went to reason with Li Zheng would definitely stand on Zhao Yun's side. Woof woof woof, Big Gray continued to bark at the tree. Mulan, who was in the house, couldn't help but cover her mouth and laugh. Looking at Zhang Cui's arrogant appearance, she was now on the tree. The commotion in front of Zhao Yun's house attracted many villagers to watch. Seeing Zhang Cui being chased to the tree by the dog with half of her butt exposed, they laughed even harder. After all, she was a woman. It was very embarrassing for her but to be seen by others. At this time Zhang Cui became the laughing stock of the villagers. She was being talked about. Chapter 632. Ha, Cripple Chin is lucky to be able to marry a woman with such a big butt. What's the use of having a big butt? The women in the village with small butts were not convinced. She still can't give birth to a son. Not only can she not give birth to a son, she can't even lay an egg. I don't know if it's Zhang Cui's problem or Cripple Chen's. Who knows? Maybe both of them have problems. The onlookers were not afraid of making a big deal out of it and kept laughing. Zhang Cui's face turned red. Since there was nothing to cover her but, Zhang Cui gritted her teeth and scolded the people under the tree. Who dares to look at my butt? Wait until I come down from the tree and gouge out your eyeballs. Yo, sister-in-law Cui is angry. Everyone don't look. It's embarrassing. Anyone would be embarrassed. That's not what we want to see. Her pants are torn so big. Who can't see her big white butt? Haha, interesting. This is the first time I see a person being chased to a tree by a dog. Her butt was even bitten. The people below were chatting happily. Zhang Cui was so angry that she was about to spit fire. How embarrassing. How could she continue to stay in the village after this? Zhang Cui was angry at Old Man Chin below. Damn, old man, don't you know how to chase the dog away? Otherwise, how can I come down? Old Man Chin finally reacted. With a bitter face he said, Cui such a big dog. I can't chase it away. If you can't chase it away, why don't you call someone? Whose dog is yours? Old Man Chin quickly replied, Okay. Cui, wait here. I'll go call someone. After all, Zhang Cui was his daughter-in-law. Today's incident was also a disgrace to the Chen family. Looking at old man Chen's old body hurriedly running out, Zhao Yun felt a burst of sympathy. The Chen family treated Zhang Cui so well that she was speechless. But this bitch was too heartless. Not only did she have a bad attitude towards the Chen family, she even had an affair. This kind of weird existence really dirted people's eyes. Zhao Yun'er watched the show with great interest. Zhang Cui's embarrassment today was just the beginning. Zhao Yun'er would definitely find out about her affair. Before long, Zhao Yun'er's eldest grandmother, Madame Hu, was called over by Father Chen. She saw Big Gray yelling at Zhang Cui and even biting her butt. Madame Hu screamed in her heart that it was over. Since they were from the same village, Hu sure had some understanding of Zhang Cui. She was an unreasonable shrew. If he provoked her, he would get himself into trouble. Madame Hu, you old hag. Hurry up and get rid of your dog. Zhang Cui shouted angrily at Madame Hu. Woman, why are you like this? I came to save you with good intentions, but you're scolding me. Hu sure also replied with some displeasure. Who else can I scold if not you? You should be glad that I didn't scold your 18 generations of ancestors as well. You raised a mad dog that randomly bites people. Zhang Cui said angrily. Can you still be reasonable? My family's Big Gray doesn't randomly bite people. You must have provoked him first. Besides, a beast is a beast, not a human. How can I control who it bites? Madame Hu looked at Zhang Cui on the tree and suddenly didn't want to save her. Chapter 633. Who's being unreasonable? Your family's mad dog bit someone and you're still in the right? You damned woman, if you keep scolding me, I'm leaving. You can just stay in the tree. Madame Hu said angrily. Although her family's Big Gray was wrong to bite Zhang Cui shouldn't have such an attitude. Old man Chen hurriedly said, Sister-in-law, don't be angry. Only you can save Cui. Also, your family's Big Gray is really scary. If he really doesn't let go of Cui, he might bite Cui to death. Hearing old man Chen's words, it meant that someone's life might be involved. She didn't dare. If someone died, it wouldn't be a small matter. She raised Big Gray. If he bit someone to death, she would have to take responsibility. At that time, she might even have to go to jail. Thinking of this, Madame Hu was a little scared. Zhang Cui continued to scold from the tree. If you don't get rid of your damn dog today, I'll come down and fight you with a kitchen knife. Some of the nearby villagers also began to persuade her. Big sister Hu, you should get rid of your family's Big Gray. Don't let anything happen to him. That's right, your family's Big Gray is too scary. Sister-in-law Hu, you have to look after your family's Big Gray. It's best to tie him up with a rope. Don't let him bite other people in the village. One by one they began to speak. They were afraid that they would become the next Zhang Cui. If they were also caught and bitten by Big Gray, what would Madame Hu do if she didn't care? Madame Hu sighed. All right then. As she spoke, she walked over to Big Gray and shouted, All right, Big Gray, come home with me. Big Gray glanced at Madame Hu and then looked at Zhao Yun'er, who was standing not far away. It seemed to be asking for Zhao Yun'er's opinion. If Zhao Yun'er didn't let him leave, he would continue to guard her. Zhao Yun'er didn't respond, so Big Gray ignored Madame Hu. Madame Hu felt strange. How come Big Gray didn't even listen to her? Let's go, Big Gray, come back with me. As Madame Hu spoke, she pulled the iron collar around Big Gray's neck and prepared to drag him away. Unfortunately, she sadly discovered that Big Gray didn't want to leave at all. No matter how hard Madame Hu tried to pull him, he wouldn't budge. Big Gray, what's wrong with you? Hurry and go back. Madame Hu scolded Big Gray. She was usually very obedient, but today she actually didn't listen to her. Woof woof woof, Big Gray barked at Madame Hu. Damn dog, it's fine if you don't listen to me, but you actually dare to bark at me. Who raised you? As Madame Hu spoke, she kicked Big Gray a few times as she continued to drag him away. Big Gray whimpered in pain, but he didn't move. Madame Hu immediately became angry. Dead dog, do you think that this old woman can't deal with you? Hurry up and leave. Madame Hu continued to kick Big Gray's butt. Chapter 634. Woof woof woof, damn dog. I'll pull out your teeth later. You're getting bolder and bolder. Big Gray seemed to understand Madame Hu's words. This time he rushed towards Madame Hu and pounced on her. Everyone was at a loss of what to do with the sudden turn of events. How could this Big Gray dog bite its master? Woof woof woof, Big Gray bit down on Madame Hu's arm. Then they heard Madame Hu's pitiful cry. Hey, why is Big Gray like this? It said that dogs are loyal to their owners. I've never seen a dog bite its owner. It looks like her family's dog is a mad dog. It's different from other dogs. Hey, what a pity. What do we do now? Big Gray caught Aunt Hu and bit her. What else can we do? We don't dare to go up. Crazy. If we stop it, it'll definitely bite us too. Hey, the villagers discussed for a while. Although they sympathized with Madame Hu, none of them dared to go up and help her. Big Gray's ferocity was too terrifying. Ah, my heavens, what kind of sin have I committed to raise such a beast? Madame Hu began to cry and wail. While crying, she quickly shook off Big Gray. If she didn't run, she would be bitten to death. The flesh on his arm had been bitten off, and blood was still dripping from the wound. Although her arm hurt, she didn't pay much attention to it because she was hiding from Big Gray. Seeing that she couldn't run away, Madame Hu learned from Zhang Chui, and climbed up the tree. Chui, quickly pull me up. Let me go up too. Zhang Chui, hesitated for a moment. She didn't want to pull Madame Hu up, but seeing Big Gray in front of Madame Hu, she thought that Madame Hu was angry with Big Gray because of her, so she pulled Madame Hu up. The two of them ran up the tree together. Both of them were very miserable. One was bitten on the hand, the other on the butt. Big Gray was still standing under the tree and barking non-stop. Fortunately, dogs don't know how to climb trees. Otherwise, they would definitely rush up the tree and bite the two of them down. Madame Hu patted her chest. It scared me to death. This damn dog wants to bite me to death. Auntie Hu, why didn't you tie up your mad dog properly? Why did you let it out? Look at the wound on my butt. You've really embarrassed me today. Madame Hu curled her lips. Wasn't it fine before? Who knew what had gotten into it today? Look at me, didn't I get bitten too? I lost a piece of flesh, it hurts so much. Zhang Chui, looked at Madame Hu's injuries. Madame Hu's injuries were more serious than hers. I don't care. The dog belongs to your family. I don't care if it bit me, but you have to give me the medical fees and the money to nurse my body back to health. Otherwise, I'll go to Li Zhang's place and make a scene. Isn't that reasonable? Chui, my dog has gone crazy. What can I do? You must have provoked it. This kind of thing can't happen to our family. Why didn't the others bite you? Madame Hu acted as if she was trying to shirk responsibility. Zhang Chui, immediately became angry. What do you mean by that? Do you still have a reason for your dog to bite someone? Besides, I didn't provoke your dog. Who knows why it came over to bite me? You didn't provoke it, who knows? Madame Hu snorted. Lame Chin immediately apologized. Chui, I heard the news and immediately rushed over. I didn't do it on purpose. All right, Chui, let's go back. We still have to ask a doctor to take a look at your wound. Old Man Chin sighed. The surrounding villagers started to tease. Lame Chin, it's not easy to see a doctor for your wife's wound. Won't other men see her white and big butt? Chapter 636. No man would want his wife's butt to be seen by others. And in front of so many people by other men? It's fine. Didn't we all see it? There are quite a few men here. We saw it from afar. It's fine. When the doctor sees the wound, he will look at it carefully. When applying medicine, he has to touch it with his hands. The situation is different. That seems to be true. When Cripple Chin heard this, he felt uncomfortable. He felt that what the villagers said made sense. It could only be said that Zhang Chui's wound was not good. It just had to be bitten on the butt. If it had been bitten elsewhere, it would have been easy to deal with, Zhang Chui retorted angrily. You people, it's easy for you to say that. Do I want to be seen by others? If this dog's bite is not treated, let me tell you, even if I die, I will turn into a malicious spirit and drag all of you down with me. Zhang Chui's words were scary. Coupled with her fierce gaze, the surrounding villagers quickly shut their mouths and did not dare to speak. The villagers also had their own taboos and believed in ghosts and gods. They were really afraid that Zhang Chui would come looking for them after she turned into a ghost. They just wanted to talk. They did not want to make a fuss about human lives. All right, Chui, let's go back quickly. Cripple Chen pulled Zhang Chui. No, wait. What's wrong, Chui? We have to make it clear to Mrs. Hu and the others. They have to pay for my medical expenses. Zhao Baojun frowned and said, My wife was bitten to save you. Shouldn't you also pay for our medical expenses? Mrs. Hu quickly agreed, That's right. I was bitten to save you too. It's much more serious than yours. You have to pay for my medical expenses too. Zhang Chui put her hands on her waist and scolded angrily, Who's to blame when your own dog bit me? Isn't it your own fault? Why is it my turn to pay for your medical expenses? Of course. If I didn't save you, would I have been bitten? Since you want me to pay, I'll make you pay. Zhang Chuier felt that Mrs. Hu was too unreasonable and started to fight with her. Thus, the two of them started to wrestle together. The scene was spectacular. The villagers tried to persuade them for a while before they were able to pull them apart. In the end, it was a rather reputable old man in the village who came forward to teach them. In the end, they came to an agreement that although the Hu family would lose money, they would only pay half of it. The other half would be borne by the Qin family. Zhang Chuier still felt that she had suffered a loss, but thinking that it was much better than Madame Hu going back on her word and not getting a single cent, she reluctantly nodded her head in agreement. The ruckus was almost over. After Zhao Yun watched the man leave, the courtyard finally returned to its quiet state. The weirdos had left and they had seen enough of the commotion. Didn't they say that people from the countryside were simple and kind? She really did see a lot of weirdos here. Yuner, I'm done with my work earlier. I'll take my leave first. Mulan stood up and said goodbye. Zhao Yuner nodded. She knew that Mulan was busy and had children to take care of at home. Sister-in-law Mulan, it's fine. You can go back. After Mulan left, Zhao Yuner tidied up her things. In the afternoon, Zhao Wenhua came over to talk to Zhao Yuner about finding Zhao Yuner's eldest uncle and second uncle. Speaking of which, she didn't have much of an impression of Zhao Yuner's eldest uncle and second uncle because they didn't have much contact with each other. Chapter 637. Zhao Wenhua didn't expect Zhao Yun to be so generous. Yun, you don't have much tiger meat left. Why don't you keep it for yourself? It's okay, father. Bring it over. I still have a lot of it at home. Zhao Yun didn't want her third branch to be disliked and looked down upon by her eldest and second uncles. She wanted to bring some good things for her eldest and second uncles to see that their family was no longer the same as before. Alright then. Yun, let's go tomorrow. Okay. Zhao Yun's eldest and second uncles lived in Wuyu village next door. It wasn't far from Shuilan village, so it wasn't too inconvenient for Zhao Wenhua to go there. After going to her eldest and second uncle's houses tomorrow, she still had to go to the neighboring village in the afternoon to make an appointment with the other bricklayers. Yun, I still have to discuss the wages of the bricklayers with you. How do you think it's appropriate to pay them a day? Zhao Wenhua felt that he couldn't make the decision regarding the money, so he had to ask Zhao Yun for her opinion. Zhao Yun wasn't sure about the average wage for the bricklayers, so she asked about the market price. It was about 2 or 3 copper coins more. After discussing it with Zhao Wenhua, they decided that the bricklayers would be paid 30 copper coins a day. In addition, lunch would be included. In the countryside, this treatment was considered pretty good. Alright then. Yun, let's invite your eldest and second uncles tomorrow. After discussing this matter, Zhao Wenhua went back. Zhao Yun, tidied up the vegetable garden in the afternoon. Big Gray, who had run out, saw that Zhao Yun's house was empty, so he wandered back. Big Gray walked over to Zhao Yun and Mu Lianfeng and shook his head and tail, looking like he was trying to please them. Mu Lianfeng's lips curled into a smile. He patted Big Gray's head a few times and said with a smile, "Good boy. You did well today. I'll give you something good to eat later." Big Gray understood Mu Lianfeng's words and became even more enthusiastic towards Mu Lianfeng. Zhao Yun looked at this despicable dog and hated it. She didn't know when Mu Lianfeng would deal with it. If he didn't, Little Black would probably be depressed. Because in the past Zhao Yun and Mu Lianfeng had fed Big Gray eat. Zhao Yun and Zhao Yun. Zhao Yun. Therefore, it was best to get rid of Big Gray as soon as possible. Zhao Yun was curious, but Mu Lianfeng remained mysterious. He didn't tell Zhao Yun what method to use. For dinner, Zhao Yun made a few simple dishes. Mu Lianfeng took out a few sweet potatoes from the corner of Zhao Yun's house. These sweet potatoes were given by Aunt Lu. Aunt Lu had planted a lot of them last year. Country people didn't like to eat coarse grain, but Zhao Yun liked to eat them very much. These sweet potatoes could be placed in the stove and roasted with charcoal. The sweet potatoes roasted with this kind of wood were more fragrant and sweet than ordinary things. They were even more delicious than the sweet potatoes roasted with charcoal in the 21st century. In addition, they could be roasted and eaten. They could also be boiled with porridge. The sweet taste was sweet. Seeing Mu Lianfeng roasting the sweet potatoes, Zhao Yun smiled and said, "If others knew, they would say that you suffered at my place. Shiziyi actually started to eat coarse grain." "So what?" Mu Lianfeng curled his lips and said with a smile, "Besides, these sweet potatoes aren't for me. I'm going to give them to Big Gray later." "For Big Gray?" Chapter 638. The mysterious smile on the corner of Mu Lianfeng's mouth made Zhao Yun wonder what Mu Lianfeng was up to. Is it really necessary to be so nice to Big Gray? Zhao Yun asked with confusion. Yun, don't worry. You'll find out in a while. Zhao Yun sighed and said to Mu Lianfeng, all right then. In fact, it was easy to deal with Big Gray. As long as Mu Lianfeng used a little bit of martial arts, he could directly stab Big Gray to death with a knife. Why did he have to do so many things now? Zhao Yun decided to listen to Mu Lianfeng's arrangement and began to prepare the meal. When the meal was ready, Mu Lianfeng buried the sweet potatoes in the fire in the stove. After they finished eating, Mu Lianfeng went to the kitchen and took out the sweet potatoes from the stove. At this time, the sweet potatoes were already roasted and emitted a strong fragrance. Attracted by the fragrance, Big Gray and Little Hay both ran to Mu Lianfeng wanting to have a taste. Seeing Little Hay coming over, Big Gray squeaked at it twice. Little Hay was scared by Big Gray's fierce look and stepped back a few steps, whining with grievance. Big Gray continued to wag its tail at Mu Lianfeng proudly, as if it was saying that the sweet potatoes belonged to it alone and only it could eat them. Woo woo woo. Little Hay whimpered a few times. In the past few days, because of Big Gray's existence, Little Hay had taken away all of Big Gray's attention. Dowdu hurried forward, carried Little Hay and comforted it. Little Hay, don't cry. I'll take you to eat other delicious food. Saying that, Dowdu carried Little Hay into the room. Zhao Yun stood beside Mu Lianfeng wanting to see what Mu Lianfeng was doing. Mu Lianfeng put the roasted sweet potatoes into cold water, and took them out after a few seconds. Then he threw them on the ground and asked Big Gray to eat them. Big Gray licked the sweet potatoes on the ground with its tongue. Seeing that they were cold, it couldn't wait to take a bite. Woo woo woo. Big Gray howled twice, then lay on the ground, struggling for a few times and stopped moving. Zhao Yun stared dumbfoundedly at the unforeseen event in front of her. She still didn't understand what had happened. What's going on? Zhao Yun asked after a few seconds. Yun Big Gray is dead. Mu Lianfeng said calmly. Let's get rid of this evil dog. How? That's too unbelievable. Seeing Zhao Yun's puzzled face, Mu Lianfeng explained to Zhao Yun with a smile. Actually, the surface of the sweet potatoes was cold, but because they were soaked in cold water, the inside was hot. Humans can't eat such hot food, so dogs naturally can't eat it. That was to say, the dog was directly burned to death after eating the hot sweet potatoes. Even if he didn't directly stab it with a knife, he would suffer more pain. Thinking of that, Zhao Yun trembled. It was a horrible way to die. It was fine if Mu Lianfeng didn't make a move, but once he did, his methods were very cruel. Seeing that Zhao Yun didn't say anything, Mu Lianfeng asked, Yun what's wrong with you? Zhao Yun shook her head and twitched the corner of her mouth. Nothing. I'm just wondering how you can be so smart to think of such a way. Chapter 639. Zhao Yun glanced at Big Gray on the ground. Since it was such a big dog, she naturally couldn't throw it away even if it was dead. Thus, she said to Mu Lianfeng, why don't we skin it and eat dog meat hot pot? Dog meat tasted even more delicious. However, Zhao Yun felt that eating dog meat was too cruel in her previous life, so she only ate it once and didn't eat it again. However, it was undeniable that dog meat tasted very good. Zhao Yun didn't feel the slightest bit guilty about eating a dog like Big Gray that did all kinds of evil. Mu Lianfeng nodded. Okay. Mu Lianfeng and Zhao Yun didn't know how to skin the dog, so they called Lu Lei over. When Lu Lei saw the situation at Zhao Yun's house, he was very puzzled. Zhao Yun didn't hide anything and told Lu Lei everything. Lu Lei asked worriedly, Yun if you do this, will your young mistress come over and make trouble later? Lu Lei knew that Madame who was an unreasonable troublemaker and wasn't easy to deal with, so he was worried about Zhao Yun's situation. Zhao Yun smiled and said, It's okay, Brother Lei. After you skin it, who can prove that it's his dog, don't you think so? Right now, my young mistress probably hates this dog to death. As for me, I'm now getting rid of a pest for our village. What if it bites someone again? Lu Lei had also heard about Big Gray biting someone today. For a vicious dog like Big Gray, it was indeed better to get rid of it as soon as possible. Okay then Yun'er, let's skin it and eat it. Lu Lei very neatly peeled the dog fart and finished processing it. Big Gray had a lot of meat on his body. After processing it, he weighed it. It was a total of more than 50 kilograms. With so much dog meat, it was enough to eat for a while. Lu Lei helped to skin it, so Zhao Yun'er gave Lu Lei a hind leg. He was only one person, so it was completely enough for him to eat. As for the rest, Zhao Yun'er kept them for herself. She would have to distribute them later. Zhao Yuner was going to give one front leg to Mulan and the other leg to Aunt Lu. She was going to keep one for herself. As for the middle leg, she was going to give some to the third branch. With this distribution, there weren't many dogs left. Zhao Yuner had never cooked dog meat before, so she didn't know how to cook dog meat. She could only cook it according to the method of cooking beef. The taste should not be too bad. Yuner, if there's nothing else, I'm going back, Lu Lei said. When Zhao Yuner and Mu Lianfeng were together, he was like a light bulb in front of them. Yes. Brother Lei Zi, be careful on your way back. Lu Lei nodded and left with his lackey. When he reached home, Lu Lei heard some noises in the house. Lu Lei thought that a thief had broken into his house, so he hurriedly yelled into the house. Who is it? A girl's voice came from inside the house. Brother Lu, it's me. It was Xiaohong. Lu Lei frowned, and when he saw Xiaohong coming over, he asked, Xiaohong, why are you here? Xiaohong smiled and said, Brother Lu, I'm here to give you a pair of shoes. I saw that there was a hole in the shoes on your feet, so I asked my mother to teach me how to make a pair of shoes for you these few days. Otherwise you can't wear leather shoes, right? Lu Lei lowered his head and looked at his shoes. There was indeed a big hole and his big toe was exposed. Chapter 640. This was the downside of not having a woman. Unlike the other people in the village who had their wives by their side to take care of them, they didn't need to worry about these things. Xiaohong continued, Brother Lu, I came over and found that you weren't at home. Then, I saw that your house was in a mess, so I helped you clean it up and waited for you to come back. Lu Lei looked at his house. It was indeed much cleaner and tidier. The floor was swept by Xiaohong, the quilt on the bed was folded neatly, and the tables and chairs were wiped clean. As a man, he didn't know how to tidy up his house normally, so he always made the house a little messy. Now that the house was clean and tidy, it was much more comfortable to stay inside. At this moment, he suddenly thought that if he could have a wife, his house would be clean like this every day. In the future, there would be someone to do his laundry and cook for him, and there would also be someone to accompany him. Xiaohong took out the shoes she made and handed them to Lu Lei. Brother Lu, try them on and see if they fit. If they don't, I'll take them back and change them for you. Lu Lei looked at Xiaohong blankly and felt a little embarrassed. Brother Lu, try them on. It wasn't easy for me to make them for you. You won't reject them, right? Lu Lei looked at Xiaohong's worried gaze and couldn't bear to reject Xiaohong, so he took them and tried them on. He didn't know how Xiaohong knew the size of his feet, but they fit perfectly. Fortunately, there's no need to change them. Brother Lu, just wear them like this. If you need them in the future, let me know and I'll make them for you. Lu Lei responded, Thank you, Xiaohong. Xiaohong smiled slightly and said, Brother Lu, you don't have to be so polite with me. Seeing that Xiaohong made a pair of shoes for him, Lu Lei felt that he had to repay her with something. He couldn't accept Xiaohong's favor for nothing and let her work hard for him. Thus he took out a knife and cut half of the dog meat and gave it to Xiaohong. Xiaohong, this is dog meat. It's best if you take it back with your father's wine. Xiaohong didn't stand on ceremony and asked curiously, Brother Lu, where did you get this dog meat? Lu Lei naturally wouldn't say that it was Zhao Yuner who killed Big Gray of the Hu family. He casually replied, Someone gave it to me. Xiaohong tactfully did not pursue the matter. Then Brother Lu, thank you. If she brought the dog meat back to her father to eat with wine, her father would definitely be very happy. At that time, his impression of Lu Lei would also increase. Thinking of this, Xiaohong felt a little happy. Lu Lei felt that it wasn't good for Xiaohong to stay in his house for too long, so he hurriedly urged her to go back. Xiaohong did not shamelessly insist on leaving. She knew that this would only make Lu Lei feel disgusted. Then Brother Lu, I'll take my leave first. Thank you for the dog meat. It's fine, Xiaohong. Thank you for the shoes too. Yes. Xiaohong left with a red face. Looking at Xiaohong's departing figure, Lu Lei fell into deep thought. Could he choose to marry Xiaohong? Since it was impossible for him to be with Zhao Yuner, he couldn't be single for the rest of his life. The next morning, Zhao Yuner woke up early and went to the town to set up a stall. She hadn't woken up early for a long time. This time, she suddenly felt a little uncomfortable and dozed off along the way. Chapter 641. Yuner, are you so sleepy because you had sex with Prince Shitzi until late at night? After Mulan asked, Zhao Yuner understood what Mulan meant when she saw the ambiguous smile on her face. She blushed at once. Sister-in-law Mulan, please don't tease me. Prince Shitzi and I haven't done it yet. Zhao Yuner said in a low voice. Although she lowered her voice, Liang Jinxiao, who was sitting in the car, still heard it. Liang Jinxiao was Zhao Yun'er's mother, so it was inappropriate for her to tell Zhao Yun'er about it. After all, it was indeed very awkward for mother and daughter to talk about it. Mulan was different. Mulan was only 2 or 3 years older than Zhao Yun'er, so she could talk to Zhao Yun'er about it. Hearing that Zhao Yun'er and Mu Lianfeng hadn't had sex until now, Mulan couldn't help but feel a little surprised. Yun'er, are you lying? Mulan, don't look at me like that. There's really nothing going on between Prince Shixi and me. Mulan saw that Zhao Yun'er was serious and didn't seem to be lying. Yun'er, haven't you been sleeping on the same bed with Prince Shixi these days? Zhao Yun'er nodded and said, yes, I've been sleeping on the same bed with Prince Shixi. Her house was only so big so it couldn't fit 2 beds. She could only squeeze in with Mu Lianfeng. Mulan sighed in her heart and began to gossip. Yun'er, Prince Shixi is really good at controlling himself. It's said that when a man and a woman sleep on the same bed, something will always happen. I didn't expect that you've slept on the same bed for so long and nothing has happened. If Mulan didn't know that Daodu was Mu Lianfeng's son, she would have suspected that Mu Lianfeng had sex problems. What's wrong with that? It's not like something has to happen, right? Zhao Yun'er muttered. Mulan sighed and clicked her tongue in admiration. Yun'er, Lord Heir is truly a good man. If it was an ordinary man he would definitely not be able to stand it. Prince Shixi wanted to be responsible for you, but you didn't agree so he didn't touch you. Zhao Yun'er remained silent. She was right. Mu Lianfeng did want to touch her, but he was rejected by Zhao Yun'er, so Mu Lianfeng didn't force her. All in all, Mu Lianfeng was a good man, not an animal who thought with his lower body. He respected her opinion. In this era such a man was very rare. Mulan still couldn't figure it out. Yun'er, you're not young anymore. Didn't you think about sex when you slept on the same bed with Prince Shixi? Mulan thought about herself. When she was Zhao Yun'er's age she had already married Zhu Eru. When she was young and energetic she would pester Zhu Eru every night. If she didn't have sex with him at night she would feel uncomfortable. Being asked by Mulan, Zhao Yun'er blushed and didn't know how to answer. Mulan, aren't you ashamed to talk about sex with me? What's there to be ashamed of? When you talked about me in the past I didn't see you being shy. Now that I'm talking about yourself you're shy. Haha Yun'er, in fact we'll go through it. Don't be shy. Zhao Yun'er felt that her face was burning. Why did Mulan become so? Well, she didn't see Mulan's flirtatious side before. She had a dirty heart. Chapter 642. If she continued talking, Zhao Yun'er would probably find a hole and hide in it. Mulan didn't ask any more questions, but Zhao Yun'er was thinking about it on the way. Her relationship with Mu Lianfeng was almost developed. Should she consider having sex with him next? After all, Mu Lianfeng wasn't young anymore. If he held it in for too long, what if he got sick from holding it in? After a while they arrived at the town and started setting up the stall. She hadn't been here for a while so there was a layer of dust on the table. Because she had rested for a while, business was obviously not as good as before. Perhaps she didn't think that her breakfast stall would continue so she didn't come here. At around 7 o'clock she saw Yi Li dressed in black, walk over coolly and sit at Zhao Yun'er's stall. Zhao Yun'er went up and said with a smile, "What a coincidence. I've rested for so many days and only set up my stall again today. How did you know that I would come here today?" Yi Li looked up and glanced at Zhao Yun'er. The corners of his mouth curved into a smile as he replied, "It's not a coincidence. I come here every day to take a look, but I've been waiting until today. May I know why you haven't been here recently?" "It's been raining recently. Rainy days are too troublesome. I couldn't come so I didn't come. So that's how it is. I thought something had happened to you." "Ah, thank you for your concern. We're fine." "That's good." Yi Li muttered, but he looked a little disappointed. Zhao Yun'er felt that Yi Li was a little strange. She thought that he was unhappy because he had waited for them for so many days. "Order whatever you want to eat. In the future you can eat and drink here for free. You don't have to pay." However, Yi Li shook his head and said, "That won't do. I will still pay what I need to pay. When I run out of money one day you can give me a free meal." Zhao Yun'er smiled. "All right then. Do as you wish." "Yes." In the morning, Zhao Yun'er's business wasn't doing very well. But because of Yi Li's charm, many people came over so the things that Zhao Yun'er prepared were all sold out. Therefore it was all thanks to Yi Li. Looking at the man's cold and handsome appearance, Zhao Yun'er couldn't help but touch her chin. How could there be such a good-looking person? His kung fu was so high. He was so cool. It was normal for women to be attracted to him, right? Yi Li caught Zhao Yun'er's attention. and Yi Li suddenly looked at Zhao Yuner. When their eyes met, Zhao Yuner felt a strange feeling. She quickly avoided Yi Li's gaze. She said to Mulan and Liang Jinxiao, "Sister-in-law Mulan, mother, let's pack up the stall and go back." Zhao Yuner heard a soft sigh. Zhao Yuner wasn't sure if it was Yi Li or if she was hallucinating. After packing up the stall, they went to the market to do some shopping. They saw that they had bought everything they needed. Liang Jinxiao said to Zhao Yuner, "Yuner, I want to buy a few quilts." Zhao Yuner asked curiously, "Mother, what are you buying quilts for?" "We've decided with the family Qin on the date of your sister Pinger's wedding. It's going to be on the 8th of next month. We don't have new quilts at home and we don't have cotton to play with, so we'll just buy a few quilts." Chapter 643. Since Zhao Pinger was getting married, the third branch of the family had to prepare blankets for Zhao Pinger's wedding. It was already the 4th of March and the Qingming festival would arrive in a few days. There was not much time left until the 8th of the next month. "Mother, I know a shop that sells blankets. The prices are relatively cheaper. I'll take you there." Liang Jinxiao replied, "All right then." Zhao Yuner led Liang Jinxiao to a shop that sold blankets. It was the shop where her family bought blankets previously. Zhao Yuner wanted to see if the old lady was there. If it was not the old lady but the woman named Kai Feng, Zhao Yuner would have to consider the price before deciding whether to buy the blankets. The reason why she came to this shop was because the prices of the other shops in Yang City were too expensive. She wanted to save as much money as she could on unnecessary expenses. When Zhao Yuner went over, the old lady was there. Although it was not necessarily cheaper, Zhao Yuner preferred to deal with people like this. The old lady's daughter-in-law was really too annoying. The old lady also remembered Zhao Yuner. When she saw Zhao Yuner coming over, she smiled and welcomed her. She asked Zhao Yuner, "Miss, are you here to buy blankets again?" Zhao Yuner nodded. The old lady asked Zhao Yuner to look around the shop and finally decided on 6 blankets. The 6 blankets were bought with cotton from last year, so the price was much cheaper. Compared to the price Zhao Yuner paid last time, it was 1 copper coin less per kilogram of blankets. After all, the weather was getting warmer and fewer people were buying blankets. If she accumulated the blankets in her hands and bought them again in winter, the cotton would be older and it would be difficult to sell them. The old lady was very happy that Zhao Yuner had bought so many blankets this time. After buying the blankets, she was about to go back when she saw 2 figures enter the shop. It was none other than Zhao Yuner's second aunt, Wu Jinju, and her cousin Liang Xinyue. Zhao Yuner's second aunt, Wu Jinju, was in her 30s. Because the Liang family was not very poor, the women in the family ate well and did not need to work much. They took good care of themselves and looked much fairer and younger than Liang Jinxiao. Liang Xinyue was the daughter of Zhao Yuner's second aunt Wu. She was 16 years old and beautiful. The girls in Liang Jinxiao's family were not ugly. After all, they had good genes. When she saw Wu Jinju and Liang Xinyue, Liang Jinxiao's wife, "Why are you here? What a coincidence." Wu Jinju glanced at Liang Jinxiao, who came forward, but did not show much enthusiasm. She only replied indifferently, "Hey, isn't this eldest sister?" When Liang Xinyue saw Liang Jinxiao, she simply ignored her and did not even greet her eldest aunt. Wu Jinju and Liang Xinyue's attitude was because they thought that Liang Jinxiao's old Zhao family was not well received. Old Zhao's family was poorer than the Liang family, and Liang Jinxiao had borrowed food from her mother's family from time to time. Therefore they looked down on Liang Jinxiao. The Liang family was very powerful and did not care about kinship. Chapter 644. Liang Jinxiao was about to recommend this method, but she was coldly interrupted by Wu Jinju. "That's enough, sister. You don't have to say any more. You're only buying these cheap things because your family is poor. My family isn't like yours. My family's has found a good marriage, and I don't want to let her use the quilt that I prepared for her dowry in a shabby manner." Wu Jinju's tone sounded like she was proudly showing off, which made people feel very uncomfortable. Liang Xinyue raised her chin arrogantly and looked down on Liang Jinxiao. Zhao Yuner's mouth twitched involuntarily. What was going on? What a weirdo. Looking at Wu Jinju's tone and attitude, Zhao Yuner felt that he was even more annoying than those people from old Zhao's family. Although some people from old Zhao's family were weirdos, they did not have such a high and mighty attitude. Thus Zhao Yuner tugged at Liang Jinxiao and said to Liang Jinxiao, "Mother, forget it. You're kind enough to introduce him, but he doesn't appreciate it. Why are you still talking so much?" Zhao Yun'er's words attracted Wu Jinzhu's and Liang Xinyue's attention. Wu Jinzhu stared at Zhao Yun'er, and then the corner of her mouth raised into a sarcastic smile. Oh, isn't this my niece who got pregnant before marriage and lost the face of the family? When Zhao Yun'er saw Wu Jinzhu's face, she wanted to go up and slap her again. She wanted to see if she would continue talking nonsense. In the end, she controlled herself. She knew that if she really hit Wu Jinzhu, it would be her parents who would be embarrassed. Thus, she endured it and decided to ignore this kind of person. Just as she was about to leave with Liang Jinxiao, Wu Jinzhu's sarcastic words rang out again. Tisk tsk tsk. What an uneducated person. Don't you know how to greet your second aunt? Eldest sister, it's because you haven't had a good upbringing. It's fine if you don't have any sense of shame, but now you don't even know how to be a person. What's the point of keeping such a daughter? If it were me, I would just throw him into the pond and drown him. Zhao Yun'er curled her lips and sneered, Second aunt, I was raised by my mother. When did second aunt have the right to tell me what to do? You said that I didn't have any manners and didn't greet you. Your cousin, isn't she the same? Why does she know to greet my mother as an elder? Second aunt, I think you'd better discipline your own daughter before you talk about my mother. When Zhao Yun'er said this, Wu Jinzhu didn't know how to refute. Liang Xinyue looked at Zhao Yun'er angrily. She actually said that she had no manners. Wu Jinzhu looked at Zhao Yun'er in front of him and felt strange. In the past, this niece of his was very timid and cowardly. No matter what others said, she wouldn't reply. Now she actually knew how to talk back. Wu Jinzhu couldn't win against Zhao Yun'er, so he vented his anger on Liang Jinxiao. Eldest sister, you really raised a good daughter. How can you talk to your elders like this? Do you still think I'm your second aunt? Liang Jinxiao sighed secretly in her heart. Seeing Wu Jinzhu's angry look, she didn't know what to say. In fact, she agreed with Zhao Yun'er in her heart, but she didn't want her relationship with Wu Jinzhu to be too stiff. After all, Wu Jinzhu was her second sister-in-law. She was a girl married out of the Liang family. She couldn't cut ties with the Liang family in the future. Chapter 645. Hearing Liang Jinxiao's words, Wu Jinzhu's attention was diverted. Of course. Forget it. I won't argue with you. After all, we're not on the same level. I saw that you bought so many quilts. Could it be that Yun'er has found her husband's family? The quilts you gave Yun'er as her dowry are made of Chen cotton. I think Yun'er's husband's family isn't very good. Anyway, it's already good enough for a woman who gets pregnant before marriage to find her husband. It doesn't matter whether the man is poor, ugly, or disabled. As long as she can get married and not embarrass her family, it's fine. Wu Jinzhu began to talk to himself. Hearing that, Zhao Yun'er's lips twitched violently. She couldn't help but think that this woman was so dramatic. How could she make something out of nothing out of the ordinary? Liang Jinxiao smiled embarrassedly. No, Jinxiao, it's not for Yun'er's wedding. Wu Jinzhu continued to mock with a smile. Hasn't Yun'er found her husband's family yet? Alas, what a pity. Jinxiao, Yun'er can't go on like this. I think you'd better get her married as soon as possible. Isn't there an old widower in Muyu village? Why don't I ask someone to help you talk to Yun'er about her marriage? In this way, your family can receive a sum of money as a wedding gift. After Wu Jinzhu finished speaking, Zhao Yun'er couldn't stand it anymore. Liang Jinxiao was also displeased. Zhao Yun'er glared at Wu Jinzhu. You don't need to worry about me. You're greedy for money, but it doesn't mean that my mother is the same. If you like money so much, why don't you sell my cousin to a brothel? She can earn dozens of taels of silver per person. It's definitely more than the wedding gift you received, right? After Zhao Yun'er finished speaking, Wu Jinzhu clenched her teeth and scolded Zhao Yun'er. What are you talking about, you lowly hussy? I'm doing this for your own good. Why don't you take a look at your own virtue? How can my Yun'er be compared to you? Liang Xinyue also said angrily, I'm not such a shameless person. I'm not even married yet, and I'm already having an affair with a wild man. I even got myself pregnant. Jinxiao, you should go back and teach your daughter how to behave. She's such a disgrace. Zhao Yun'er looked at the mother and daughter who were echoing each other. She only felt that it was funny. She glanced at them coldly. Aunt, you're an elder, so I'll let you have your way. But if you dare to say another word, don't blame me for tearing your mouth apart. Anyway, if you don't say it, I'm an uneducated person. I won't blame my conscience for doing anything to you. I'm not afraid of anything. Zhao Yun'er's sharp eyes scared Wu Jinzhu. He muttered a few words of dissatisfaction and didn't dare to say anything more about Zhao Yun'er. Zhao Yun'er laughed in her heart. Sure enough, she had to be more forceful when dealing with certain people. The more you let them have their way, the more they would bully you. Xiaoyuner isn't going to marry. Why did you buy so many quilts? Wu Zhenju asked again. In fact, she was more concerned about where Liang Jinxiao got the money to buy these quilts. Although it wasn't very expensive, it would cost about 1 tael of silver to buy 6 quilts at once. Liang Jinxiao was so poor that he even had to borrow food. How could he take out so much money? Chapter 646. Wu Zhenju and Liang Xinyue were even more surprised when they heard Liang Jinxiao say that Zhao Ping'er was going to get married than when they heard that Zhao Yun was going to get married. Wu Zhenju smacked his lips and asked in disbelief, Sister Ping'er actually managed to find a husband? Zhao Yun was so surprised when she saw Wu Zhenju's expression that even her jaw dropped. She couldn't help but complain in her heart. Isn't it just Zhao Ping'er getting married? Is there a need to make such a fuss? Liang Xinyue directly exclaimed, Zhao Ping'er is such an ugly woman. How can she get married? Oh my god, I wonder who is so blind. Liang Jinxiao was so embarrassed that she didn't know how to reply to Wu Zhenju. If her Ping'er heard Wu Zhenju and Liang Xinyue's words, she would probably be heartbroken. It just so happens that the matchmaker introduced her to a family and the 2 children made do with each other. Wu Zhenju couldn't help but criticize her again. Sister, he must be poor and can't find a wife, so he married your Ping'er, right? Liang Jinxiao twitched the corner of her mouth. That child's family is a little poor. Wu Zhenju pretended to be sympathetic. Sister, you're so pitiful. You married your Ping'er to a poor man, and you probably didn't even receive a single copper coin as a gift. Now that you've bought so many quilts, it seems that you're prepared to pay for it. Tiskediste sister, speaking of which, you're also a poor person. You raised 2 daughters and they're both like this. One is worse than the other. As for Zhao Yuner, Wu Zhenju didn't dare to say anything about Zhao Yuner because of her warning. From Wu Zhenju's tone and expression, it was clear that Wu Zhenju looked down on Zhao Yuner's family. Liang Xinyue chuckled. Mother, you're wrong to say that. Even if cousin Ping'er loses some money, it's still a good thing for her to get married. Otherwise she'll have to eat for the rest of her life. It's much better than losing money. When Wu Zhenju heard this, she nodded in agreement. That's true. Mayu is so lucky to be able to marry into a good family. When the time comes, she will be able to bring her parents to enjoy life. Liang Xinyue said proudly, Mother, of course. I will definitely be filial to you and father when the time comes. Zhao Yuner couldn't stand it anymore. 2 weirdos, 2 weirdos. From the moment they met until now, they had been belittling them and praising themselves all the time. They were all ordinary people, so Zhao Yuner didn't understand why Wu Zhenju and Liang Xinyue had such a sense of superiority. Zhao Yuner pulled Liang Jinxiao's sleeve and said to Liang Jinxiao, Mother, if you don't want to be scolded anymore, you'd better leave now. Liang Jinxiao nodded. Even if she wasn't sad, Zhao Yuner would be sad when her second sister-in-law scolded Zhao Yuner like that. Second sister-in-law will leave now. Wu Zhenju just nodded. Zhao Yuner and Liang Jinxiao carried the quilt into the car. When Wu Zhenju saw Zhao Yuner's donkey, he couldn't help but ask, Sister, does this donkey belong to you or is it rented? It belongs to my family. Your family? Sister, where did your family get the money to buy a donkey? Yuner bought it, not me. It's all Yuner's money. Hearing Liang Jinxiao's words, Wu Zhenju was even more curious. Where did Yuner get the money? Chapter 647. Wu Zhenju snorted coldly. If you don't want to say it, then don't say it. I'm guessing that it must be some shady business. Otherwise, why wouldn't you dare to let others know? Zhao Yun really didn't want to talk to this kind of person. She could say whatever she wanted. Their mouths belonged to them and she couldn't stop them from doing so. Moreover, no matter how nasty other people's words were, she wouldn't lose anything. Second aunt, you can say whatever you want. We're going back first. Zhao Yun said coldly. Seeing that Zhao Yun was about to leave, Wu Zhenju hurriedly called out to Zhao Yun. Wait a minute, Yun girl. Since your family has a donkey, why don't you send us back? Zhao Yun's lips curled into a sneer. She didn't know how Wu Zhenju had the nerve to say such a thing. Second aunt, can't you see that my donkey is already pulling 3 people? There are so many things on top of that. How can I bring the 2 of you along? Wu Zhenju pursed his lips. He was very displeased. Zhao Yun couldn't be bothered with Wu Zhenju. She patted Xiao Mao's butt and said to Xiao Mao, let's go. Let's go. Xiao Mao understood Zhao Yun's words. It took off and flew away. In a short while it was far away. On the way back, Zhao Yun couldn't help but sigh at Liang Jinxiao's family's weirdos. If she had known this would happen, she wouldn't have let Zhao Wenhua look for her eldest uncle and second uncle. If her eldest uncle and second uncle were like Wu Jinzhu, she definitely wouldn't have let them work. Liang Jinxiao sighed and said, Yun don't argue with your second aunt. She's that kind of person. Mother, I won't argue with her. But we should interact less with them in the future. They look down on us anyway. Oh okay. Actually, we don't interact much with them. We might not even meet once a year. Yes. This was also what Zhao Yun'er felt gratified about. Otherwise, she would be annoyed to death if those people strolled in front of her every day like old Zhao's family. Xiao Mao quickly brought the three of them back to the village. In the late spring, the farm work became busier. Many people had to go down to the fields to weed. When Zhao Yun'er sent Liang Jinxiao home, Zhao Ping'er was in the courtyard. Ma Xiaofeng and Zhao Tianan were also standing in the courtyard. They were chatting happily. Zhao Tianan stood beside Ma Xiaofeng looking very shy. Even so, Zhao Tianan still couldn't help but get closer to Ma Xiaofeng. His eyes peeked at Ma Xiaofeng from time to time. When Zhao Yun'er saw Zhao Tianan's reaction, she knew that her younger brother had been poisoned. She sighed slightly in her heart. When they heard the sound of the carriage, several people looked in the direction of Zhao Yun'er. Ma Xiaofeng was obviously a little nervous when facing Zhao Yun'er. She didn't dare to look into Zhao Yun'er's eyes. However, she still went forward and greeted Zhao Yun'er. Sister Yun'er, you're back? For the sake of Zhao Tianan's face, Zhao Yun'er responded indifferently. Ping'er, I bought your dowry quilt today. Liang Jinxiao said to Zhao Ping'er. Looking at the brand new quilt on the carriage, Zhao Ping'er smiled happily. Mother, thank you. What are you thanking me for? Mother, you're so nice. You child, you're my daughter. If I don't treat you well, who else can I treat well? Chapter 648. Her family was poor, so she couldn't afford many things. In addition, in her mother's eyes, she was just a good-for-nothing, so she had to leave everything at home to her younger brother. She didn't have any complaints. After all, it wasn't easy for her family, and her younger brother's marriage was troublesome. If she didn't think about her younger brother now, it would be more difficult in the future. It was precisely because of this that she had to find a good family. Only by marrying a rich man could she eat and drink well, and help her family live a good life, so they wouldn't have to suffer. Sister Ping'er, congratulations. Ma Xiaofeng's tone had a hint of envy. Thank you, Xiaofeng. When I get married, we won't have many opportunities to be together. We probably won't be able to see each other much in the future. It's okay, Sister Ping'er. You can come back to your parents' home more often. Won't we be able to see each other then? Yes, Xiaofeng. I have to come back a few more times for you. Yes. Zhao Yun'er saw Zhao Ping'er and Ma Xiaofeng acting like sisters and couldn't help but want to laugh. She didn't know if Zhao Ping'er had a pig's brain. Chu Chu was scheming against her, but she was still so close to her. Second sister Xiaofeng is the one who sent us the chicken grass. Zhao Tianan hurriedly said to Zhao Yun'er, wanting Zhao Yun'er to have a good impression of Ma Xiaofeng. Really? Yes. Zhao Yun'er looked at the chicken coop. A few chickens were burying their heads and eating a few pieces of grass. Liang Jinxiao hurriedly said, Thank you, Xiaofeng. Ma Xiaofeng smiled shyly. You're welcome, Auntie. My family also needs chicken grass, so I just sent some over. Haha, thank you still. Mother, you don't have to be so courteous with Xiaofeng. When Tianan and Xiaofeng get married in the future, we'll be a family. Zhao Ping'er teased from the side. Zhao Tianan immediately lowered his head shyly, while Ma Xiaofeng looked at Zhao Ping'er coquettishly. Sister Ping'er, Xiaofeng, you don't have to be shy. You and my brother are very suitable. It's best if you two are together. When you two get married, we'll be even closer. Don't you think so? Liang Jinxiao smiled awkwardly and did not know what to say. He glanced at Zhao Yun'er and felt very worried. According to the current situation, it would be difficult to separate Ma Xiaofeng and Zhao Tianan. Just as Zhao Yun'er was about to leave, Zhao Wenhua returned. She went to her eldest uncle and second uncle's house today, but looking at the situation, Zhao Wenhua's expression was not right. He did not seem to be very happy. Seeing Zhao Wenhua frowning, Zhao Yun'er asked, Father, what's wrong with you? Sigh. Zhao Wenhua sighed and said, Yun'er, your eldest uncle and second uncle said that if they want to help, they have to pay 5 copper coins a day more than the other bricklayers. They can't pay the same price as outsiders. If they don't pay 5 copper coins more, they won't come over. Zhao Yun'er frowned. Hearing Zhao Wenhua's words, she was also very angry. If we give my eldest uncle and second uncle more for the same job, how will the others be convinced? If the other bricklayers knew about it, they would definitely not be willing to work more than her eldest uncle and second uncle. On the other hand, Zhao Yuner was angry that they were all relatives, but they were so calculative. Since they were a family, shouldn't they not ask for remuneration? Besides, the price she paid was not low, so there was no need to calculate so clearly. Chapter 649. She was too lazy to serve them. Zhao Wenhua sighed. All right, Yuner, let's not look for your eldest uncle and second uncle. Although there weren't many bricklayers, there were still some. It would be good if they could find a few bricklayers. They could also find 2 ordinary workers to help them, and the house would definitely be built. Oh right, there's one more thing. What's wrong, father? Sai, your eldest uncle and second uncle said that since we have the money to build a house now, we should return the 3 loads of grain that we borrowed from them previously. We have borrowed the grain for a few years, and we have to add another load of grain as interest. We have to return 4 loads of grain in total. After Zhao Wenhua finished speaking, he continued to sigh. 4 loads of grain was 400 kilograms, and 1 load of grain was 500 to 600 copper coins. 4 loads of grain was more than 2 taels of silver. This wasn't a small amount. Liang Jinxiao couldn't help but ask, previously my mother said that we should forget about the grain. Why did she ask for it now? Zhao Wenhua was very helpless. Yuner's eldest uncle said that things are different now. In the past we couldn't return the grain, but now we can even build a house. Naturally we have to return the grain. Liang Jinxiao felt her heart ache. That was her biological brother, and he was actually so calculative with her. In the past few years, Zhao Wenhua had helped the Liang family a lot when they were busy farming. On one hand, Zhao Wenhua was busy working in the Zhao family's fields, and on the other hand he had to help the Liang family. At that time he was really exhausted and didn't have any rest. After helping so much and working hard for so many years, how could it not be worth 3 loads of grain? Zhao Yuner really couldn't complain about her eldest uncle and second uncle's whole family. Indeed, birds of a feather flocked together. Weirdos simply gathered together. As for the few loads of grain, Zhao Yuner planned to ask Zhao Wenhua to return them. In the future they shouldn't have any contact with Liang Jinxiao's family. Zhao Yuner was afraid that if she didn't return the money, the Liang family would think that they owed them. Once their lives improved, the Liang family would come over to take advantage of them. On the contrary, Zhao Yuner's family would suffer. Father, mother, did old Zhao's family eat these 3 dan of grain together? Zhao Yuner asked. That's right. At that time our old Zhao family was having a hard time. That's why we had to borrow some food. Then if we return the grain to first uncle and second uncle, old Zhao's family should be more forgiving. We can't just borrow the grain for everyone to eat and then return the grain to the 3rd branch. Zhao Wenhua seemed to be in a dilemma. Now that we've separated from the family, it's not convenient for us to tell your grandparents. Father, what's so hard to say? Didn't they eat the grain? All right, I'll go and discuss it with your grandfather. Zhao Yuner nodded. She didn't want the 3rd branch to suffer this loss. Old Zhao's family had taken advantage of them for nothing. She didn't care about the small amount of money. When Zhao Wenhua entered Zhao Baoshan's house, she heard curses coming from the house. It was xuanhuan. After that, Zhao Baoshan said something, and xuanhuan finally agreed to take out the money. Where's my money? Why is 3 taels of silver missing? Xuanhuan's roar came again. Zhao Wenhua hurriedly asked. What's wrong, mother? The money is missing. Mother, look for it again. Don't worry. Xuanhuan rummaged through the cupboard for a while, but she still couldn't find it. It's missing, the money is missing. Who the hell took my money? Xuanhuan rushed out of the house crying and screaming. She shouted towards the yard, and the rest of old Zhao's family came out of the house. You're tuning in to the Sword Dance in the Vast Sky YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.